Rolling. Hello, hello. So, part 2 to the review. I did the Pathologic worm review, and I talked a little about how I see video games that try too much to be like movies and series and books. I think that the video game as a medium should focus on the gameplay first. Not okay, let me see a better way to put it. It's not that I don't believe that the video games can be used to tell a story. I think it's a legitimate medium, but I always prefer the ones that give. I lost some frames on the stream, but it's okay. It's back. As I was saying, I always prefer the ones that give priority to the gameplay because I think that a medium should try to take advantage of the things that they have, and the thing that the games have as advantage over other types of media is the gameplay. And that game, it was one, at least by the review that I watched, it was one that did not have a very good gameplay. And as I said, I respect the devs and the writers that stuck to the vision of what they wanted to portray, and the message that they wanted to give to people. But yeah, that's about it. Now I'm gonna watch the review from for Pathologic 2. I never saw anything about it. I don't know if it's gonna be better or worse. So here we go. Let me give a like. Oh yeah, the link to the original is on the description. If you can go give a like to the original creator and maybe let the video play in the background to give his view too, it would be very nice. Okay, with that said, let me just give a look here to the streams. Okay, the bitrate are okay. Nice. Okay, let me start the reaction. Let me see the quality. Let me put in a good quality. Okay. 1, 2, 3, let's go. Oh, did I put on the normal? Normally I watch things on 2x, so I have to be sure to put on the normal. Grigori reflection. Even in a handcrafted town like this, there is an underground, a rat's nest at odds with the law, at odds with good morals. People come to them with dubious challenges and requests. Just say it out loud. Territories. Okay. That's a dialogue in the game. What the heck? Ooh.
I've got to say, it's good to be back, even if I didn't think I'd be back here so soon. When I said no more weird Russian games for at least
Wait,
a year...
wait. It's kinda, on my... It was kinda fast on my thing. I have a stencil that make things faster than 2x. I forgot that I was using. Okay, let me go back a little, just to make sure it's okay.
I've got to say, it's good to be back, even if I didn't think I'd be back here so soon. When I said no more weird Russian games for at least a year, I meant it. The thing is, for one, I didn't expect them to release Pathologic 2 so soon, and two, I didn't think they'd contact me that very day offering me a copy of the game for feedback. So, here we are. Let me start by answering the most common questions copy of the game for Pathologic 2 so soon, and two, I didn't think they'd contact me that very day offering me a copy of the game for feedback.
Nice. So they gave you here
we are. Let me start by answering the most common questions I've seen. Is Pathologic 2 a remake of 1? Yes. Is it an actual sequel to 1? Yes. Do you need to play 1 to understand 2?
Okay.
No.
No?
See, the game starts at the end of Pathologic 2.
So it's a sequel, but you don't really need to play the one. As I remember, the Pathologic 1 was a bad game, so I guess If the Pathologic 2 is good, which what I don't know because I never saw any video about the game. If the 2 is good, you can already start just watching the just watching no just playing the second one. Okay.
Maybe the end of Pathologic 1, it doesn't really matter. Essentially, you start the game having lost it, and you're given a chance to restart. Kids are just playing hopscotch in a war zone and going to barbecues. You get the idea.
What the fuck?
So how is it a sequel? Well, the first game is referenced from time to time, though it's always going to be subtle and usually up for interpretation. It's typically not story elements because, like I said, this is also a remake, but more meta commentary
okay.
on how the first game turned out. This is more like a film remake than a game remake. The main idea and framework, yeah, that's usually the same. A person a film remake than a game remake.
More like a film remake. Oh, interesting.
The main idea and framework, yeah, that's usually the same. A person might share the same name, but they're a completely different character now.
Okay.
Some huge plot elements can be reworked or torn out or added in, it's all up in the air. Pathologic 2 does all of these things, but still acknowledges that the plot of the first game still happened.
Nice.
It may even challenge you on which you prefer, though the story isn't that much different than 1. Don't worry, they still have all the trash cans everywhere. This dual nature of the game does make it tricky to talk about, so I'll talk about it as a sequel and a remake, which is going to get messy, but it's okay, we're here together. You know, because taking
Okay. I thought my eyes wasn't working right.
on one fever dream game by itself was just too easy, so here we go again. The game starts you off on a train and with a new friend. The kind of friend who emerges from a coffin and then wants to tell you a secret.
Oh, you don't need to choose who you are on the second one. On the first one, I remember that you have to choose between a guy from outside of the town, a guy from the town, and a magic girl, I think. Magic, I mean the way that she was I don't remember what she was. She was something. She was something else.
Just like in middle school, this begins one of the most surreal tutorials I've played in the game. You're learning how to drink water and people are turning into mimes. Then all of a sudden you're in Junji Ito's Mongolian Thunderdome, and then you learn how to trade by exchanging hearts.
Oh yeah, there was this thing in the first one that you could do with one of the guys that had the profession to do it.
This is a long tutorial sequence, but it is effective. Yeah, it's teaching you how to play, but it's also making the drop into the main game more cushioned. You're starting off in the land of visions and metaphors. It's disjointed, so arriving in the town feels like a relief from all of that. At least for now. There'll be a lot more to learn, but it's a great introduction. You know, it tells you what the buttons do. Unlike 1, that just had these two guys giving you a huge information dump. They say so much at once that you can easily miss out on essential info. This is probably why a lot of players didn't know they could receive mail. It would all be cryptic unless you looked in the controls. You might think it's odd to focus on the tutorial. Well, it represents the biggest change from 1 to 2. See, the first game wasn't just frustrating from the walking, even though that was a big part of it. It was the fact that you were frequently so aimless when playing it. You had all these characters to babysit, and you'd check on them, and usually they'd be fine.
Sup, Nobara? Wait, let me put here. Okay, here is nice.
But sometimes they'd be in trouble. And you did this by walking across town, and then you'd stare at them.
I remember he showing on the first review how much nothing happening while he was walking the game. That was this session is improvements. Story premise, okay.
The difficulty from the first game did not come from hard survival mechanics.
I'm just watching some videos that people recommended in my channel.
It was really easy to farm bandits and have lots of supplies forever. The challenge came from constantly walking, wondering if you're wasting your time doing it, along with mundane nightmare missions like this one.
Yeah.
I know I'm getting ahead of myself, but this is a big change. Pathologic 2 teaches you more and shows you more. The game is still more difficult, but as a survival and decision challenge. I'm deciding if I should fight to get the hell out. I'm not walking across town to someone who might be in trouble to just check up on things and wondering if rat poison will stop my heart.
It's already better than the first one. What the heck?
I got ahead of myself there. Some of you don't know what this game is all about. You play as a surgeon named Artemy. He's been off studying in the big city when he receives an urgent letter from his father to return home. So he does, and 3 people immediately try to shank him in a train yard. It quickly becomes apparent why he left because the town is bizarre. Bizarre beyond the murderers and the furries, which are part and parcel of any city.
Oh yeah, the kids with the
You don't know where the town
puppety
is.
heads.
It doesn't really have a name besides just the town and the Gorkin River. It's also uncertain when exactly this game takes place. I mean, yeah, there's a gramophone, but also the giant floating polyhedron tower. There are also the creatures who want to trade organs or give you a canal tour. Then you have all the townspeople. They're all over the place. Some look like Mongolian shepherds, Turn of the Century men, anime villains, this mime. This town is out of time and space. It's an alien culture that the character Artemy has to relearn, and you, the player, have to learn from scratch. A situation like this would be hard to order a meal in. In Artemy's case, it turned out that his father was murdered and there's a serial killer on the loose. Many suspect the killer to be something called a Shabnak step demon.
So, kind of a detective gameplay. I think there was a bit of that in the beginning, in the first one, that you have to talk with a bunch of different people to discover things.
The arrival of a deadly, incurable plague. Artemy has come back just in time for the opening of mass hysteria. You'll need to discover who killed your father, save the town, and save yourself.
What the hell?
Now that you have the gist of it, let's go over the presentation in detail. On a technical level, the game is very impressive looking.
Yeah,
the superb lighting, shadows, and
looks
reflections
good.
do a lot to
It's from 2009. Okay. It's
generate
kind of
atmosphere.
good.
Besides just being nice looking when you're moving through the game world, it's used incredibly effectively in the set pieces too. Pathologic 2 has a lot of creepy and surreal visuals,
Yeah.
especially when you compare it with its predecessor. A lot of these graphical techniques just weren't available for the first game, so not only do they come off a lot stronger, there's just more of them in general.
Nice.
Unfortunately, it's not a perfect improvement.
But on the first one, the game already have a big vibe to it. I remember when he was showing the stages and the soundtrack.
In conversation, the character models are great, and they have a lot of subtle animation to them. They do breach into the uncanny valley sometimes,
Yeah,
but that
this
could
one-
be intentional. Whatever, it
Look,
doesn't
it's
look
kinda
like Mountain
strange.
Blade anymore. The animations outside of those, particularly in combat,
Ooh.
are pretty janky. It almost looks like they're recorded at a lower frame rate than the game is actually running at. People slide around a lot, and some things just look so odd that it gives everyone a kind of mannequin feeling. There's still a lot of great animation work, but the lesser ones will take you out of it. Speaking of that kind of thing, there are some graphical issues, mainly these stutters and slowdowns. They seem to happen right before or slightly after entering a new area. It could happen by going from outside to inside, or you're just walking through town and you cross an invisible loading line and everything stops. This did improve after a patch, but it could still happen occasionally.
Okay.
I always thought the game
I
was
was
about
going
the
to say, so this is something that the devs had to take care of. So they give a patch, but it's still not totally fine.
but to its credit, that never happened. The true terror of this issue only arrives in combat. There's nothing like fighting a leper with a rusty shank and wondering if you'll die to time dilation instead. It never
the heck?
actually screwed me over, but it could have, and that needs fixing.
It's not in the best shape as it is.
Now as for the art direction, that is excellent.
Yeah.
The world of Pathologic has a very interesting look to
On
it.
the first
At a
one,
quick glance, the town might
For the first one, the art direction was already good, so as from the beginning, he's showing that the game is better. I expect the arts direction at least to stay the same level, and maybe get better too.
look like a typical early 20th century European town, but it's also being influenced by a tribal steppe culture. They bring with them innovative ideas like regarding bulls as being sacred. This is a direct contrast to the town who's starting to industrialize. But rather than being completely at odds with each other, a lot of the town is a fusion of both
Ooh,
cultures.
that's
the
nice.
house looks European, but it has tribal tapestries inside. Makeshift contemporary hospital, shamans wearing bow and bird costumes with glowing eyes. It goes beyond just picking out which element would belong to which side and blends into being its own thing. For example, the giant
Nice.
superstructures that are just looming over the town ominously. It's hard to pick a category for those, and going inside them doesn't help much. Having this style work without being a complete mess is already a feat, but there's the
Yeah.
entire other layer on top of it. Everything
Because depending on how the artistic team did it, it could be just they throwing whatever they wanted and try to mumble all together. But I guess they did a good job and it works okay.
thing you've seen is underneath a theatrical presentation. It's like a big scary play. It's not hidden or subtle either. Right when you get to
Good.
town, there are stage lights. Characters might act as stagehands or speak theatrically. Then you have the actual theater building in the center of town which predicts the future at midnight. But that's another story. It sounds like a mess when you spell it out like that, but it works because
the
of the
giant
insane
bull.
attention to detail. Even after 2 playthroughs just coming back to record a few other snippets of things, I would keep finding stuff I hadn't noticed before. Like, I didn't notice at all that playground equipment had bullheads on it. It's such a mundane object, but they went that extra mile to make it fit in the world.
Yeah, the attention to details is always something that is notable on teams that care about what they're doing. I think the details are the most important part. So the person that is playing make sure to be immersed. Immersed? Is that how I say the word? I don't know.
And then you have the
I look
surreal
it
and
later.
horror elements sprinkled around in there too. Pathologic 1 never quite hit these as hard as 2 does, but I won't spoil all of that.
What the
Then they took everything in the setting and made an apocalypse happening on
giant
top of it. So
rats.
yeah, that's unique to say the least. Still, visuals are only half of the presentation. The sound of the game has its own unique qualities to it, so I'll start with the good first. Conversation voice acting is interesting with that trademark Pathologic stage delivery jazz to it.
Light feet and heavy heart, huh? It should be the other way around.
When the cat's away, the mice will play.
What the heck?
What do you call such a man? A slave. You call him a slave.
Please welcome the Outbreak. The theater is officially disbanded.
As well as other conveniences. Running water, access to your own children, who never leave their beloved polyhedron
This is in the
anyway.
game?
Access to
I can see the image kinda trembling.
your own children, who never leave their beloved polyhedron anyway.
Naturally, this
It looks nice.
is backed up by how well the sound builds atmosphere. Like the first game, the soundtrack is unique and has a lot of memorable qualities to it. This time around, it is for different reasons and is no longer the Genghis Khan-directed Half-Life 2 soundtrack. The music is more tribal, ethereal, and mystic this time around. A lot of bells, sitars, and chanting. Depending on your ancestry, this could compel you to dance or build a spice mine somewhere. Let's check out a few samples.
Spice Mine. Okay, let's see. Theodore Bastard, Darkness. I like these masks. Theodore Bastard, Disappearing. This girl, she always somewhere. Oh, there is more than one. Okay, I understand now. It's a common archetype. Volksha Yagoda, Theodore Bastard. Oh, this one's nice. I like these types of music that has this, like, this tribal woman singing. There is one that I remember. I think, let me see, Samurai Champloo. When the protagonist, I forgot his name, is almost dying, and then there is a like 7 minutes, more than 7, maybe that 10 minutes of the episode is him maybe going to the other world and a woman singing, and I always remember that part because I really like the atmosphere that they created. Yeah, if you have ever watched Samurai Champloo, you're probably gonna remember the part that he almost died, I think.
Then you have the creepier tracks, like the one that sounds like someone scratching on wood.
This one's good to atmosphere.
Then sometimes it gets really ominous.
An open wound
What the fuck?
is a window into the world. A shout is an arm reaching out from a gaping mouth.
It's nice that the music is just as strange and otherworldly as the rest of the game. The environment in general has great sound mixing. That was my big audio complaint in Pathologic 1, and it's been improved completely. It was easier to get immersed this time instead of having dogs bark and babies cry in my ear constantly.
Nice.
Unfortunately, I can't say the same for the mixing of minor characters. The random background sounds and callouts of unnamed NPCs and all that. I get the feeling that the voice actors did not record in the same studio. Some NPC conversations don't sound like they're in the same room.
If I only knew. If I only knew.
That's okay.
You could cut me.
Oh yeah.
There's also not enough variety
You
among
can notice
NPCs. A pyromaniac arsonist and a sick bandit sound
this-
exactly the same and have the same line. You're walking around, you just
This
hear,
is a thing that I noticed when I was talking about that guy, about that girl, that there is not too much what's the word that he used?
Maniac arsonist.
Variety in the NPCs.
and a sick bandit sound exactly the same and have the same line. You're walking around, you just hear, "Get over here."
Come back. Stop right there.
What the
Stop right there. Don't close that church
first?
anywhere. You're not going anywhere.
Wait, I'm not doing this again yet. I did check, and the Russian mixing for the main characters is also great, and the mixing for random NPCs does seem better. They do have the same
okay.
Attack of the Clones problem. Just instead of, "Stop right there," they go, "Hey, suka."
Suka
Oh, it's
blat.
happening again, the disease
Suka
is
blat.
spreading. But I have the cure.
One thing that I know about the Russian pronunciation is when they learn Portuguese, they almost don't have any accent, and the contrary is true. When someone that speaks Portuguese learns Russian, they have very little accent, because it seems like we speak in the same ways. We have pronunciations that are how's the word? I forgot it right now. I forgot the word to say.
It never ends. Anyway, I thought the presentation was great, very atmospheric and creative. It does fall short of being truly superb because the areas that do lack polish give it a healthy amount of jank. In other words, the Slavic specialty dish. Now I'm gonna briefly look at this as being a remake again. I think the presentation in 2 is better than 1 in every single way, but 1 does do 2 things in particular differently.
What?
The first is the contrast between the mundane buildings and the not-so-mundane, whatever this is. Except for very few select buildings, Pathologic 1 was very grounded. It looked drab and boring to walk through, like some kind of commercial where someone's about to take an antidepressant. Though, to its credit, this did make the strange buildings a lot more mysterious. 2 establishes a different world better, but that also means a lot more crazy buildings. Even then, 1 still had a few fantastical locations that I liked more than 2. I like 2's direction a lot more in general, but this is a noticeable difference to me. It did make Pathologic 1 more surreal, but also more mind-numbing. I'm sure there are a few sadists out there that prefer that. Then you combine that with the second element, which is the drastic change in the music. I like the new music, but I do miss some of the more electronic-inspired tracks. I liked Horse Archer trip-hop. So while I wish 2 had more of that, they did remix a few songs from 1.
Okay, makes sense to reuse some songs and the remix in the new one.
Yeah, so that's cool. Now I can finally get to all the game mechanics and how much there is to do and
Oh yeah.
changes and
Now let's go to the game and play.
Boy, there's a lot of them. I forgot how many there were. Oh, my head. Is someone shilling Raid Shadow Legends near me?
Yes, I would love to buy the bull. If you say it talks, then I believe you. I think I got scammed. Oh, shit.
Back to the review. So to reiterate the goal, since it's been a while, you need to save the town and save yourself. Now you could go about saving the town by any means necessary, or try to be a paragon of good, it's up to you. Now your own survival depends on several stats. Health is easy. Ivan stabs you, it goes down. You'll need to find or make healing items to get that back. If you're
Hunger and
exhausted,
thirst.
go to bed. Or eat something like raw coffee grounds.
What the
Just
hell?
not too many or you die. Hunger is self-explanatory. If you need that explained, well, you're a cat.
That's the protagonist. He's a big boy.
Same for thirst, though it's actually more complicated than hunger in this game. We'll come back to that. Then you have your immunity, which protects you from being infected by the plague, and you really don't want to be infected by the plague. Getting clothing and certain types of immunity boosters can help you out with that, though boosters are one-time use and clothing needs maintenance. Some food you eat can make your thirst go up. It goes on. These stats are in a great
okay.
balancing dance with each other. So how do you get the stuff? Here's how it works. In Pathologic 1, it was a web of bartering that I called the Hobo Economy. In Pathologic 2, this is called the Hobo Economy 2. Revengeance.
Revengeance.
When you're walking through town, you want to check trash cans for stuff. Sometimes you'll get a good haul and sometimes they're empty. You might find empty bottles which you can fill up with water. You can save these for yourself or trade them with the drunks for healing items. Different kinds of townspeople will trade different items, so you need to figure all of them out. You can trade with near anyone you see, so this is a big deal. Naturally, your biggest target should always be children. Kids are dumb. Give them scissors for morphine, raisins for immunity pills. They don't get should always be children.
Your biggest target should always be children.
Kids are dumb. Give them scissors for morphine, raisins for immunity pills. They don't know what's going on. You can then sell or trade their items at stores to buy more specialty goods. Then, when times get desperate, people might start trading away their valuables for essential items. Time is always passing in Pathologic, and a new day brings a new economy. You can find clues to help anticipate how things will go, but you'll never be 100% sure what the next day will bring. People do need to trust you to trade. This ties into the game's reputation system. Instead of a single number, your reputation depends on what part of town you're in. An action can only affect a single district or several. If you shank a plague victim who tried to touch you, the local district will go, they'll talk about it, but it's kind of understandable, so it won't spread out from there. Now, if you fire on children with shotguns, and rob people, and mug people, and break into places, and harvest organs in the dead of night, that'll spread around, which is a shame because the illegal organ market's doing really hot right now. I could keep going about what organs can do for you in the hobo economy, but I don't want to be on this too long. My point is that much like the stats, the gameplay mechanics are very tightly interwoven. It's rare for there to only be one way to get something you want. The first game was somewhat like this, but the second game has expanded on it greatly. The walking, which was the skeleton of all of Pathologic, has been improved. If you didn't notice it already, you now have the choice to sprint. That's right, newcomers, running is a brand new feature. However, your thirst stat is also your stamina. Same bar. The more you run and naturally get more thirsty, the less max stamina you have. You recharge it, but it won't be as much as before until you get a drink. At the start of the game, this seems pointless. Water is all over, why even have this? Well, when districts start getting hit by the plague, the water sources can get infected. Barrels run empty. Water pumps break and need items to fix them. People like that. What if someone tries to kill you and you waste all your stamina running? So forget running in water, how about fast travel? Well, that could work, but it takes in-game time that could be slower if you just ran there. You need to find items to even pay for it. The boats might be closed due to airborne cancer.
These things.
Or maybe the price will change. It went from one option, walk there, to several options that have trade-offs. Remember, the clock is always counting down. You also need to be thinking about the efficiency of everything you do. A lot of survival games are generous with the time allowed to the player. You see a meter get low and you run off to take care of it. It'll slow you down but not really hinder your progress in the main story. A lot of problems will mainly come from your lack of preparation. If anything is timed outside of survival meters, it's usually going to be minor. If you die, you load up a save point and you're back at the same place with the same rules. This is where Pathologic shakes things up. This game has lots of quests to do, more than you could possibly do in a single day. So you need to figure out which ones to do, but also survive because you're dying. The boosters you give for a hospital quest are the same ones you need to protect your own immunity. You can go into this game always wanting to do good and not hurt the innocent, and that is possible. In a lot of role-playing games,
it's possible, but it's probably very difficult, right?
good means you get less stuff, but you get nicer dialogue and people being nicer to you, and being a bad guy means more stuff and angrier people. That's not the case in this game.
Okay,
you have to make judgment calls based off your own logic rather than trying to game it. Breaking into a house doesn't guarantee there's food to find. Everyone else is starving. Using healing items to help some random guy doesn't mean your reputation will go up. He's just some guy. The player could rely on hospital work, and that can change in a day. You kill and rob to save a lot of money, then some stores stop using money. Items that seemed worthless suddenly have great value. A cop loots the guy that you shot. Do you then shoot him and take the reputation hit? I can't just third-party a fight from a distance anymore. I need to take a risk and get close for the stuff. If this all sounds difficult and frustrating, it is. It's a very hard game. The thing is, it's all...
Yeah, it is what will make the choice matter. So if you choose to not engage or to engage and maybe kill and loot the people, it will matter.
Also incredibly engaging from it. You can get bored playing Pathologic 1. I was bored for a lot of Pathologic 1. Now the sequel, that keeps shaking things up.
The
only day I did everything was the first one. It's not always unfair. There's a lot of hints that things are going to change, you need to watch out for them. I was having to break into infected houses to try and save babies for money and reputation. It forces you into making these decisions to infected houses to try and save babies for money and reputation.
It feels strange to carry a baby like an item, but now is the time to be sentimental. So the babies be on the bag like an item.
It forces you into making these decisions just to get by, and the rules will change every day. It avoids the survival problem of being at the top with no challenge. You can have multiple saves at a profile, but only at these clocks. When you die, you meet the evil Willy Wonka theater director. He then gives you punishments like permanently knocking down your max health or making hunger and exhaustion come faster. By the way, this will be across all of your saves. There's no going back to avoid your mistake, the punishment is here to stay. How's that for survival? Can I get some water? Guess not.
Bro.
If this sounds like torture, it's really not, especially compared to Pathologic
Oh
1.
yeah.
That's not an
Really
incredibly
don't.
confident bar, but I'll give some examples. If you don't like the death punishments, you can make a deal to get rid of them.
For
Huh?
a price.
Your map highlights locations and points of interest so you never get confused on where you are. You can hold a button to give yourself GPS vision on the go. That same
Nice.
button will also highlight characters who have dialogue, so if you need to talk to someone twice in a row, now you know. You keep a tab of things you've learned how to do, and best of all, the mind map. I hope other games steal it because it's genius. Some
Oh.
games give checkboxes or a journal to tell you what's happening and what you're doing. It's hard to make it work when the plot gets more complicated with more characters.
Okay.
The mind map organizes it like how you think, that being snippets of information that connect together. This allows you to visually trace the plot threads so you don't get lost with what's happening. You see where holes are that give you an idea of where to
That's
investigate and who
very
to talk
nice.
to. You
And much more in a investigating type of game that you have to act like a detective, and you talk to people and do missions to try to discover the story and discover what's happening. This is a really good way to show it to the player.
speculate on what has the potential for connections. Here's a huge missing piece connecting several stories. This one looks unrelated. There was never a moment where I was truly lost on what to do. Instead of wondering if I'm going the wrong way and need to click someone twice, there's a button to make sure. Rather than making house calls across an entire city to see if someone needs help, well, at the end of the day, I know who's fine, who's at risk, and who is sick. This lets me create a plan at the beginning of the day, decide who gets what medicine. Choosing which quests to follow up on is just as important as making a choice inside of a mission. This is a story that branches out with characters having multiple outcomes. These people could have incomplete information, flawed logic, an angle, an entire laundry list of reasons why doing something for them might not have the best result. These are effects that you see in the game world and can cause other effects. As I said before, the challenge doesn't come from the game being cryptic, it comes from genuine decision making. Even
It
combat,
comes
something that
from the decisions have impact. That's good.
you would think would be based off reflexive skill is a dizzy nightmare. It's difficult to do anything reliably in a fight, and yeah, it's terrible. My
Yeah.
strategy was usually try to kill them
Guys, it's a thing that they did not improve. The fighting gameplay.
quickly, and if it looks like it'll be a long fight, just run away. Guns fire erratically or jam if they're not maintained properly. A late game optional mission to get a shotgun involves fighting 3 people at once. Pathologic 2 considers that a huge deal in a video game. Fighting 3 men at one time. It can be hard to wrap your brain around. It's a difficult game, but difficult for the right reasons this time around. Not to
Oh.
mention, in a patch they begrudgingly added difficulty
Huh?
options. You have the option
Lava.
to change nearly any parameter in the game, but Pathologic 2 recommends you don't do that. The stand-in for the director even laments not being able to make the game harder.
My true desire was for this town to never have a direction or goal maker. Not even us. It's intellectually offensive. Who do you have to be? Who do you have to be to trust a map maker and a free-person nose saying, "Here's your goal. You're too lazy and stupid to figure it out on your own. And I am not without mercy toward the last mind. So I will do the work for you. Go there. Go and don't forget to thank me for choosing your goal for you. Love, the powers that be." Holy shit. He did not want to put it. But guys, it's one of the things that made the worm be bad for the people that they wanted it to play. I don't know how I feel about that because, as I said in the beginning, I think the game should prioritize the gameplay, but I always like when the devs and the writers stick with the vision that they want to be. So, in my opinion, he should have followed his vision and did do that. But I guess they want to make the game a little bit more accessible.
So why is this here? I rarely do this, but it's time to talk about some other reviews. I don't think this game is selling too well, and I have some ideas why.
If the intent here is to follow a Sousian hard is good philosophy, Pathologic 2 starts to feel less like an interesting failure and more like a budget Skyrim. That's the thing, they want... The focus is on the message that they are trying to say, maybe? I'm not sure. That's the thing that I was talking about. Their focus is on trying to tell and say a story note, say a message with what's happening in the game or something like that.
I'd like to present my case. The criticism I see the most is about the survival mechanics. Most reviewers lament it, calling it tedious and wishing you could just walk around the interesting world and talk to people about the mystery. That's fair. So here's why it would be a detriment. The characters in this game are well written and fleshed out. Especially when you compare it to Pathologic 1, whose characters had traits, but they were so allegorical and metaphorical, and it was difficult to see them as actual people. 2 gives you history with them. They make it personal. Decisions you make lead to their death or their survival. The game invites you to get invested in them, see what they can do if they live through it. Protecting characters from the plague is one of your main goals in the game. Actions you take can influence whether they get infected in the first place. If they do get infected, well, it's up to you to save them. Plague-curing items are hard to acquire. You need to sacrifice time and resources to get them. The key word being sacrifice. You have to give something up to make this happen. Are you invested enough to go into areas and risk permanent punishments? Are you going to give up an item that would easily cure yourself to help someone else? Do you upgrade your ability to carry more fat loot, or focus more on the medicine machine? You're not distant from the situation deciding who lives and dies in conversations, you're actively in it. You're also trying not to starve, you're also trying not to die of disease. It immerses you more in the situation. You're part of the decaying city, not some immortal Time Lord observing it.
As I have said, and I'm gonna repeat again, your choices matter. So I think that's good. Nowadays there's too much games that try to give a way to the person to escape, I guess. I like this. Even though I don't know if I would like to play the game.
You and the other characters that they want you to be invested in, you're in the same boat. Their problems seem more real because they're real for you to manage. You know, helping your characters be relatable, so you care what's happening and maybe feel something. Without these meters, you have no reason to drop into a random house and see how normal people are doing. You never go out and hunt for supplies based off a tip. You never have a routine look in a house turn into a monster chase. You don't need to question your own decision or take a big gamble. Yeah, let's just remove the conditions that made those memorable events happen. Some of the most interesting conversations in the game happen right after you die, because they know it's hard and they do expect you to fail a bunch. I still have mechanical issues with this game. Muggers having the surrender mechanic is useless, not having an inventory auto-sort is a needless pain in the ass, and I still don't get sneaking. I've rarely seen those complained about, but instead it's the driving force of the game that's being criticized. I don't know. I guess I'm just disappointed that the games our art crowd seems so obsessed with those walking simulators where you don't have a ton of interactivity or mechanics. Then you have this game that did an excellent job at refining a concept that they had 10 years ago, and it's being dismissed for not being one of those walking games. Maybe we should think about why these mechanics are still there and not dismiss it as a mistake? When I beat Pathologic 1, I was dreading having to play a new character. I really didn't want to. In this, I was excited to play the same character again just to see what turned out differently. I loved it. The only thing 1 truly has over 2 is some more interesting story elements at points, and you can play as 3 characters.
Oh yeah, that is
if you really want to know more about the story of 2, you could just watch my video on 1. All the new stuff in 2 is based on new character context, events, and other stuff that would take forever to go through. Icepick Lodge had plans to add the other 2 characters, but I don't know now. I couldn't in good faith recommend Pathologic 1, but 2, I'll say yes.
Yeah,
in fact, I'll go farther
sounds
than
nicer.
That. I'm not a good salesman, but if this game sounded remotely like it would be interesting to you, go buy this game. GOG and Steam both have refund policies. If you don't like it in the time period, just refund it. Even though it's only 1 character, it's a much more fleshed out experience than the 3 that were in Pathologic 1. They improved on nearly everything I could hope for. I would hate to see it not-
The 1 I did not want to put on my wishlist, but this 2, maybe I will put it later. What the heck?
Not get polished up and not get the other characters. I don't want to watch it fade away and then in 5 years read on some publication that gave it a bad review that it was a hidden gem and we all just missed it. I want to see the other characters. I want to see the Soul Matol video on them. So if it sounds like your thing, check it out, and I'll see you in the next video. I also kind of want to try Deluxe Hard Mode. I like punishing myself.
Hard mode. Okay. This one was faster than the first. I guess because he didn't have
Thanks
to
everyone who made this happen
play
and for
the
waiting.
story.
I was out with an injury in late June and couldn't get this finished, and I'm glad it's over. Anyways, time for questions. Are there any games you like you don't plan on doing a video on? Probably Morrowind, maybe New Vegas at this rate. Also really long role-playing games like Baldur's Gate 2. I'm
Baldur's
starting to
Gate
wonder if those
2.
will be worth the time investment, because those will take a while to record properly. I don't want the wait from now to the last video to become the new normal. When will you review a Total War Warhammer game? My plan is after the next Lord Pack, so it'll be my December to New Year holiday project, I think. I have no idea what they might rework or add in, so I don't want to get started now just in case they end up fixing something, then I waste my time making footage for that. That video is my White Whale, after Elite Dangerous, which I might have to hold off on that for a bit still, because I can't sit for very long. Honestly, I've been sitting too long right in this moment, so next question. Have you played a Zachtronics game?
Zachtronics?
I saw a few of the Matthew Matosis videos on them, but I haven't played any myself yet. I have a feeling they might be too strong for me. Are there any games you didn't like in a first playthrough, but liked in a second? The big one I always think of is Quake 4, because I stopped playing that the first time I played it. Doom 3 was the year before, and I thought it was going to be Doom 3 Part 2, so I just gave up on it. There's this spaceship where Steve Bloom voices everyone on it, and that was the point where I stopped. Then later I came back, and now I really enjoy it. There'll probably be a video on it eventually. Alrighty then, have a great weekend.
Okay. That was... There is something in the end by the bull. There's still something. Okay. Oh, sacrificing the bull. Nice. This one was faster than the first one, I guess, because he did not have to explain out the story like the first one. And it seems like the sequel and the remake is the two things at the same time. It's better. It still has some mechanical issues, but outside of that, I guess they stuck to the visual, mainly what they wanted to do. Not everything, like the rat dev was complaining about. But maybe the first one I did not feel like putting on my wish list, my ever-growing wish list. But this one, I think I'm gonna put it. And maybe in the future I try playing. Okay. With that said, if you watch it until here, please give a like, comment something, maybe recommend something. Subscribe. And that's it. Bye bye.